Okay, hey, good morning, Data. Morning, Paul. How's it going? Oh no, Data. Well, I tell you what, in general, I hope you're very healthy and nothing is wrong, or if anything is wrong, it's easily corrected. All right. I've had my fill of hospitals and doctor's appointments here this week. I don't wish that on anybody. Okay. So yeah, I've been in and out of doctor's appointments all week. It's not been a great week for me, but uh, so that's why I hope you have a better week than what I've had. They've been adjusting my medicines, my medications, and it's sort of screwed with me. So driving around other people's money, ooh, I just hope you get to keep some of that other people's money. I hope you're getting paid well to drive around with other people's money, especially if it's a goodly sum of other people's money. Because yeah, that's nice. I mean, that can be nice. I did that for a short period of time. Uh, it would have been a much longer period of time, but I there was a wait list to get my license to be armed as armed security. There was a wait list for the class, and they needed a person much quicker than I could get through the state certification class. And in the long run, I guess it worked out for the better because it turned out that the guy that did the certifications, him and I have got our own personal history, and I don't know if he would have let me pass or not because him and I we did not get along, shall we say. Um, we had a personal interactions in the past that were not good. Rama's been sick all week. Also, come to find out, so I doubt if she's going to join. I don't know if anybody else is going to join. I sent out quite a few, or I sent out a few invites, and if people show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. Um, like I said, my week's been rather hectic. They changed up my meds somewhat, and they needed it, and I had some issues going on where I had to go in and see the doctors, and then this morning I had to take the wife into work. Well, follow her. She dropped off her car at the mechanics. She needed front end alignment and have her brakes checked. And both of those are way beyond my skills on these newer vehicles. I need to get my truck in for front end alignment again. So see how that works out. Got some new cookbooks in that I'm going to check out. Uh, one of them has got a recipe for. I really want to make my own sourdough bread, but I don't want to keep a mother dough because there's a lot of work keeping that. You almost have to bake bread every week when you've got that. And I mean, while I love to bake bread, we don't eat that much bread. A loaf of regular store bought bread will last us a month. When I bake bread, it'll last us a week, week and a half. We eat more low carb tortillas than anything else. Yeah, in the long run, Paul, the changes in the medicines will help me out. It's just the body's got to get used to it. They did get me approved, though. I was surprised. Uh, my government insurance initially denied my request for the new medicine to replace my infusions, and somehow or another, the doctor pushed hard enough to get it approved. So at least is for at least next 2 years, I've got this medicine approved, and that's going to be nice because I'm going to go from that six, 5, 6, 7 hour infusion every Monday to a 15-minute thing. So that I'm going to get my entire Monday back. You guys won't be hearing the noise of me refilling my pump every 45 minutes or so anymore. Well, I've got 2 more weeks of that racket, and then I'm supposed to be going to this other stuff. The only drawback to it is I got to have a nurse come out, and she's got to watch me do it the first time. But that means I got to let a strange woman see my fat belly. Not too enthused about that, but what the hell? This says that now I do have to watch out for side effects on that though, because there are certain side effects that are not very pleasant. That's why a lot of people, some people can't use it. But anyway, anywho, so let's get started talking about some of the things going on that since the last time I streamed last Friday. Uh, okay, in our last series stream, which was on Thursday, a week ago today. Damn. Start off with one of the things I really enjoy is the ruckus around is Colbert's firing or the cancellation of his show next year. Not today, not this week, not this month, but next year. They just, say we're not renewing your contract. And this, come out right after Colbert spent part of his show berating CBS, the people that signed his paycheck, for settling the lawsuit with Trump. So let's see here. Your first of all, your show is losing $4 million a year. You're losing money. You're the most watched show of your type on between the three networks, but you're losing money. Or no, it was $40 million he was losing, not 4 million, but 40 million. So you're losing millions of dollars a year. You got 200 people on staff. 200 people on staff. You're losing money. Hey, morning, Ramen. You're losing money. Got 200 people on staff. You're standing there berating the people that sign your paycheck and that's losing money for settling a lawsuit with the person that you hate. But you berate them and call them all kinds of names. And then you sit there and wonder why they're saying, we're going to just not renew your contract when it's up. We just went ahead and make that decision. And to show it's nothing personal, we're not even replacing you. we're just going to end the show. That will be the last episode. Yeah, granted, this show has been running for generations, starting off with Jack Parr, then going to Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson, yes, very few people know that Jack Parr actually started that, was the first host of that show, because Johnny Carson had it for so long. And then going through Leno, and now you. Now, up until you, everybody was pretty much apolitical in their programming, in their shows. Yeah, they would, Carson would slide in a joke or something every now and again, a little bit. So would Leno, a little bit, nothing too serious. But you come in and your politics are not hidden. And you got the show because you had this character that you did, satirical character that you did before, that made fun of Republicans. You pretend, you had a pseudo Republican character, and you use that to poke fun at Republicans. But you had a nice audience, and they thought maybe you could carry your humor, over and. But I don't think they really expect you to stay as political as you did. And I think, so you start losing money because you're on the people who stay up that late and watch your show for the most part are older people. But you stayed up late, you berated, you lost a lot of your audience because they got tired of you hearing you condemn them and their ideas. You're losing money. You're 200. I could not get over the fact you had 200 people on staff. 200. What in the hell did you need 200 people for? Okay. 4 or 5 cameramen at the most, a couple of lighting people, an audio, you had then you had the guy, the director, and the audio manager, to make, to do all the microphones and make certain the right mics are on at the right time. You had the director to, which camera angles were best and tell the cameraman where to go. You had the guys that set up the lighting, but the lighting once set should have pretty much stayed set. A couple of people out controlling the audience. What, 4, maybe 5 people as joke writers? Because they can't, really couldn't expect you to write all your own jokes. You probably wrote your own opening monologue. But still a couple of joke writers, 4, maybe 5 people, and there's your joke writers. So, I'm figuring 50 people on staff to produce your show. Now, that's including the secretary who answered phone calls and got your mail for you. Your secretary, personal assistant, whatever you want to call them. And then, the 3 or 4 people it took to sell tickets. Yeah, I'm still thinking you shouldn't have needed more than 50 people. When I was working in a television station and we did live broadcast, with a live audience. We did it with 6 people. That, it was sure, it was a local show, but we still did it with 6 people. All right. Yeah, but the security ramen, that, I mean, are they employed by the show or are they employed by CBS since they're doing this at a CBS building? You know, they're going to, they're okay. So 60 people, including security and guest handlers. I still don't see where you need 200 people. I really don't see how you could um, successfully employ 200 people and actually keep them busy. So now, yeah, well, no, because a lot of people bought tickets. A lot of people bought tickets for that. Oh, that's weird. Okay, why would I get notification on a story that's 6 days old about the judge ruling against FBI agents dealing with January 6th? That ruling was 6 days ago. That's weird. But anyway, so Colbert, and see where this gets to me though is everybody, Democrats, liberals across the nation. Oh, that this is a violation of his First Amendment rights. This is a strike against free speech. Really, explain to me how. I mean, the is Colbert being silenced? Is he being banned from ever speaking his opinion again? Have they cut out his tongue and cut off his arms so he can't type nothing and he can't speak? Is he being banned from the internet where he can't start a YouTube channel or uh, a Substack, going over to Blue, whatever the blue, the liberal version of X is, or the liberal version of TikTok, the liberal version of YouTube. Because if he wants to have a little thing there where a nice little echo chamber where he doesn't have to be exposed to anybody other than other liberals. I mean, there's liberal networks out there on the internet that he can join and post his ideas, and you know, uh, I'm sure he's got enough money to buy a good computer and a decent camera and have some ring lights set up and produce his own show from his home. Oh, really, Paul? They hired the audience. Well, I guess if you're an audience for hire, that's an easy way to make money. All you got to do is laugh at the right time, applaud at the right time, be that nice audience that they want. So there is no requirement that CBS keeps this show going, especially if it's losing money. Or, we're tired of you attacking us. You can go attack us on your own time. Not on. We don't need to pay you to stand there and berate us. I mean, you don't talk bad about your boss. When I've got bad things to say about my boss, which I have, I talk to them face to face. I don't do it out in public. I don't say bad things about my boss out in public because that's a fast way to get fired. Be out there bad mouthing your boss to the general public like that when you have a very public platform that they're paying for. And as it's well known, you don't have a right to a job. You don't have a right to a particular job. Anybody can be fired from their job. Yes, I mean, if the president of the United States can be fired from their job, if a senator or a House member can be fired from their job, what makes a damn comedian think that he can't be fired from his job? So now that now the liberals are just mad that he got fired. And they're not even carrying on with the idea, well, they're canceling the entire show. A show that my grandparents sat up and watched. They only, granted, they only stayed up on Friday night to watch the show, but they stayed up every Friday night to watch Johnny Carson and Jack Parr when they got their television. I can remember when my mom's parents got. I can remember when my mom's parents got their first television. I remember when they got indoor plumbing. They put an add-on the house to put in a kitchen that my grandma, with plumbing in it. I remember when they got rid of their wood stove. Yes, I can remember my grandmother cooking on a wood and coal stove and heating up water on that stove to take a bath in that old metal tub. Like you see in the old westerns or movies or TV shows about the Depression area, that big metal tub. I remember my grandparents on my mom's side actually had one of those, and that's where they took their baths in. And that's where we took our baths when we spent the night at their farm. So yeah, I remember when they got indoor plumbing. I remember when they got that big old claw-footed bathtub in. So, I mean, the this is all stuff done within my lifetime that I remember. And I'm only 65. So anyway, how the world has changed since back then. But anyway, so Colbert, quit your whining about losing your job, which you're still getting paid for. What else here did I want to talk about? I got a whole list of things here. Have y'all heard about Bibb, Bibb County, Alabama, and the child sex trafficking ring that got busted up there this past week? 7 adults. Looks like most of them are related. At least 3 out of the 4 are related, if not 4 out of the 4, related by blood or marriage. And then the other ones most likely being close friends of theirs, very close friends. Having a child sex trafficking ring with children as young as 2 years old, between 2 and 10, in Bibb County, Alabama. And these are all white people. One Mexican, one Hispanic. And there's thoughts that he might be an illegal. But that, I mean, oh, claw-footed tubs. I love my grandparents' claw-footed tub, man. Big old white porcelain. Well, they don't make a wood chipper that runs slow enough or is dull enough to handle these 7 people. Here they are in all their glory. This one right here is the guy that's Hispanic. The second from the right. According to some of the reports, they started investigating in February, and this was the underground bunker that they had. Commercialized child sex ring where children were sold for sexual servitude and explicit images. An underground bunker equipped with beds, chairs, and restraints to drug and bind the children. Children were drugged by Mr. Trejo, Trejo, tied to the bed, into the chair, and onto a pole. Then people would come and pay money to have sex with them. Two of the children, when the police raided the place, were found engaging in sexual acts with each other. Trejo, the guy second from the right there, was the first one arrested. He's indicted on 6 counts of first-degree human trafficking, as well as charges related to the distribution of child sexual abuse. Prosecutors say that he's the one that was acting as the facilitator, securing locations, drugging the children, and coordinated with others who paid to sexually abuse the children. He also distributed photographs and videos. One of them was charged with 20 felonies: first degree human trafficking, rape, sodomy, kidnapping. This should be national news. I want to see these trials done publicly. I want them televised from start to finish. And I want every detail of their abuse that happens to them once they're convicted and sent to prison. I hope that each and every one of them have to suffer exactly as they made those children suffer. I want I hope they find the biggest dildos made and shoved up dry. I want them to suffer everything that those children suffered. Executions of these people is too quick. An execution is too quick. Electric chair, hanging, facing the firing squad, all that's too quick. They won't suffer enough. I want them to spend years being penetrated, being beaten, being tortured in every way possible. Yeah, Raman. We had a few of those when I was in the Air Force. For some reason, they fell down that flight of stairs 3 or 4 times before the SP showed up or the ambulance showed up to take them to the hospital. Or they fell down that, when I was in Germany, they fell down that hillside. And damn if they didn't walk back up and fall back down again. I know at least one guy that went to the hospital with multiple broken bones, cracked ribs, shoulder dislocated. He fell down the stairs. He fell down all 3 flights of stairs. I mean, it was amazing watching him ragdoll around that corner, around each one of them landings. And for some reason, he crawled back up them stairs and fell back down them again. No one ever got in trouble for it. Yeah, they did an investigation, but That's before they put cameras up in the public areas of the dormitories. I'm sure they got cameras in the public areas of all the dorms now, to where you can't get away with that kind of stuff. And no, see, two of these people up here, these seven, are female. Where's this empathy that women are supposedly so famous at from these two women? Like I said, I want them to suffer. I really and truly do. I want to see them suffer like there is no tomorrow. Okay, I really and truly want to see them suffer. This here's one of the rooms that they were stuck in. This is part of that underground bunker. But anyway, that's the I honestly believe anybody that abuses a child needs to suffer the same abuse twice over. For every physical abuse that was done to a child, that the adult that did it needs to suffer it multiple times over. That's how disgusted I am about that whole thing. Disgusted at adults who would do it. All right, enough of that. Let's go. I was trying to find the video of it, and try. And if somebody can help me out here and find the link to because that's what one of the things. Like I said, I had to run my wife follow the wife out to the mechanics, then run her to work this morning. So I didn't have time to. Uh, I lost a couple hours. Now we did end up though stopping at a donut place that I haven't eaten at in at least a decade. Wife wanted a cup of coffee, so we ran over to a donut place near where uh, the mechanics was at, and and I told her I just wanted a cup of coffee, and she brought me back a cinnamon twist. This I Of all the donuts out there, a good cinnamon twist is my absolute favorite. And this thing was huge. I've never had a cinnamon twist this big before. I don't know what they charged her for it because I only gave her $7. And that's why I just figured I'd get a cup of coffee. If she wanted something to eat before she went, that's fine. Because I had two slices of toast this morning with one with apple butter and one with grape jelly. Homemade bread, of course. But she brought me back that piece of that cinnamon twist, and oh my gosh, I made that thing is absolutely delicious. I know. But anywho, uh, the this whole mess with Obama supposedly organizing the Russia scandal, that everything that come out of the Department of Justice trying to tie Trump with the Russians was done at the directions of Obama. I want to see the evidence that Pam Bondi says she's got. I want to see it because if this is true, oh, what is this? Okay, let me share this. Or this is brand new. At least it wasn't there an hour. This article didn't pop up an hour ago. Department of Justice forms Russia Gate strike force to investigate declassified Obama era evidence. The Justice Department has formed a strike force to assess the evidence publicized by Director National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard relating to former President Barack Obama and his top national security intelligence officers' alleged
Hourly Amazon
involvement.
employees earn an average of over $22 per hour in communities across
Okay, where's
America.
that? There we go. Stop that commercial. May to investigate the next legal steps, which may stem from Gabbard's recent declassification of records, suggests an Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to form the narrative that then candidate Donald Trump colluded with Russia to influence the 2016 national presidential election. Now, I've heard a lot of commentary since this has come out. Hey, Eagle, how you feeling, buddy? How you feeling? Is the what's the latest and greatest on your doctor's stuff? I hope I hope it's going well, my friend. I really and truly hope it's going well. I've had you in my prayers every day. Well, that's good to hear. I hope everything stays well with you. But anyway, I've heard a lot of people saying that if this is all true and that this in itself isn't manufactured, I've heard some people saying that Obama should be put on trial for attempting to for using government for using the government against a presidential candidate like this. I've heard some people say that he should be charged with being a traitor. I don't think that's. I think that's too far. And I don't think that there are any laws against doing what he did. Eagle, in a way, I sort of agree with you. I really do agree with, in a way, I do agree with you because, I mean, if it happened, then yes, the public should know. Because remember, Obama was, no drama, Obama. He never had a scandal, quote unquote. He was scandal free, according to the media. Of course, it's the media that determines what is and isn't a scandal, but that's beside the point. So I've also heard people say that this revelation, this scandal, is a manufactured scandal to take the Epstein list off off the public attention. But the problem is it's never going to get off the public attention. The public, even people like myself. Now there are going to be the hardcore individuals out there who are saying that the Epstein thing is over and done with. But the Democrats aren't going to let go of it. The liberals aren't going to let go of it. And people like myself, I have said multiple times, I don't even, I want that list revealed, even if Trump's name is on it. And evidently, Trump's name is on it multiple times from what Pam Bondi, what is said, Pam Bondi has told Trump last last May, a couple months ago, that Trump's name is on that list multiple times. Now, what context is Trump's name on that list? And I'm going to say this also: just because your name is on a list of Epstein's does not mean that you went out there and had sex with children, had sex with somebody on that little island of his. Because Trump cut off all public associations ties with Epstein years before any of this happened. Exactly, Paul. All right, you have a good day, Eagle. All right. I voted for Trump for multiple reasons. The Epstein list was not in my top 10 items as to why I voted for Trump. Was it one of his campaign promises? Yes, it was. But it's not why I voted for him. Kash Patel and Bongino made more of a deal of releasing that list out than Trump did, I believe. But I still want that list released. but I want it released in context. Not this was the names on the list, draw your own conclusions. Just because your name's on the list doesn't mean that you went out there and did it. I don't know what else to say, but do I want that list released? Yes, I do. But anyway, back to this thing here. So I don't know what else to say about either one of these. Uh, are these going to be is this whole thing a manufactured scandal? I believe it is. I believe it's and the Epstein thing, that's a scandal of Trump's own making. Because he did say he wanted that list made public and that it would be made public. And I think and obviously that was before he knew his name was on any of the list. Yeah, Data, you're probably right. CT scan done. Oh, okay. CT scans aren't that bad. They're not as bad as an MRI. Okay. I only need, depending on what the CT scan is going to be of, I may only need one Xanax versus going in for an MRI. And then somewhere I saw a video yesterday of the birthing stations on a Coast Guard ship. And I'm telling you, I mean, you've got like a foot and a half of room above your head. You can't have a belly and get in the side of those damn bunks the way they are. Paul, you're right. But well, maybe I don't know. I don't know, Paul, because if the Democrats brought out the Epstein list with Trump's name on it, they'd have to be releasing the entire list. And how many names are on that list the Democrats wouldn't want out? I mean, seriously, would Hillary's name be on the list? Would Obama's name be on that list? How many people in Hollywood have their name on that list? How many big time Democratic donors? Would there be any any senators or House members have their name on that list? Oh yeah, we know they did that. But going back to this Epstein list, I mean, this is one of those weapons, sort of like that squirt gun, that if you don't hold it just right or flip a lever at the right time, the person squeezing the trigger is getting a face full of water. This is like that. I mean, people from both political parties powerful people from both political parties are on that list. Hey, good morning, Digi. There's names. I'm going to. I honestly believe there are names on that list from not only political parties, politicians, but industry, entertainment. From the computer world, from security, hell, even probably even military names. Generals and full bird colonels and such from out of the Pentagon. So yeah, I mean, I I would not be surprised to know that there was names from all walks of very rich people, very well connected people from all aspects of life. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of things. Well, what have you missed? Well, let's see here. Talked about what about the child uh, sex ring out of Alabama and the 7 people so far that's been arrested for it. Talked about why I couldn't stream Monday and Tuesday this week. My apologies for that, but real life stepped up and kicked me in the butt. So we're just sort of skipping all over everything here this morning, all kinds of stuff. Talked about Colbert and hey, he did not lose his First Amendment rights just because, or he's not going to lose them just because his show is not having the contract renewed next year. Hey, at least they were nice and gave him, massive warnings so that he can start, you know, saving his money and revamping his, accounts and everything to make certain he's, got enough money to live on. But I'm sure that he's got millions socked away. Oh, okay. Sorry about this, guys. Okay. Uh, oh, that was good. You've seen the videos of people being tasered, and how their bodies all stiffen up and everything. Well, sometimes that happens to me, just regardless of what I'm doing, standing, sitting, walking. My nerves just start singing like that. So, I mean, for in all seriousness here, for me, I feel like I'm leaning up against an electric cow fence 24/7. But every now and again, it's like, okay, that somebody turned the juice up. Woo. And that's what just happened. But anywho, like a joy buzzer. I wish it was just a joy buzzer there, Digi. I really wish it did. Press done by Tulsi Gabbard's comments. Well, anytime anybody says anything bad about Obama, the press is stunned by it because Obama was the golden child. No, he could do no wrong. Even though the day that he made the comments of in a week we're going to fundamentally change this country. You only fundamentally change something you don't like, that you feel the fundamentals, the basics of are wrong. So that you want to you're about to destroy it. You're going to destroy the very fundamentals that thing is built upon and rebuild it from scratch. That's what it means when you say you're going to fundamentally change something. You're going to burn it down and rebuild it. Oh, Data, I've done that. I've done that by accident. Mm-mm. Not fun. Not fun. That really did you. That's it. How dare you criticize Obama? Remember, we labeled him no drama Obama because everything he did was perfect. Oh, he ordered a weapon strike against an American citizen overseas because you don't like what he's saying. I mean, that's. I didn't like what the kid was saying either. But you don't order a drone strike against them, against an American citizen. But that's what Obama did. And the media was silent about it. Anyway, there's that. We've got the RussiaGate scandal popping back up. We got the Epstein list popping back up again. And honestly, I think the two are tied. If it weren't for one, there wouldn't be the other. Did Obama actually win a peace prize? I don't remember. I've got. I know he was nominated, but did he actually? He was nominated. Yeah, he did get it. Got it before he even went into office. The Norwegian Nobel Committee announced the award on October 9th, 2009, citing Obama's promotion of nuclear nonproliferation and a new climate in international relations fostered by Obama, especially in reaching out to the Muslim world. Yep, that's right. He got one before, for work he did as a senator before he ever made it into the White House, he was awarded the Peace Prize based on what they what they thought he was going to get to do. Yeah, he got the Peace Prize while being president. You know, he'd been in office for 8 months when he got the award while leading a war, being a wartime president. Yeah, good enough, good enough. Anyway, so let's take a look at this other article here. This is a week old article, but for some reason it popped up on my thing this morning. Oh, by the way, going back to the Epstein list, Judge Robin Rosenberg, the judge who declined to unseal the Epstein grand jury records, who said, nope, 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 those grand jury records will remain sealed. She's an Obama appointee. She wasn't appointed by Trump. She wasn't appointed by either one of the Bushes. She was appointed by Obama and was 100-0 confirmed in the Senate. So, just when the liberals come out and say that that it was a conservative judge, nah. Unless you think Obama appointed a conservative judge, that's not the way that's going to go. Okay, I went over here. But another judge, this is against about this happened last week. A federal judge dismissed lawsuits by FBI agents aiming to block the Trump administration from revealing their identities. The judge deemed the agents' concerns about the disclosure too speculative. This ruling favors the Trump administration, dismaying the claims that the leadership would expose FBI agents involved in the Capitol attack investigations. This all goes back to January 6th. Some of the, from my understanding, these agents are afraid that that some of the January 6th people, now that they got their pardons and they're not in prison, are going to sue them personally for actions that they took. The 1,500 thereabouts people that Obama had arrested for January 6th and arrested and jailed. Now, some of them deserve to be jailed. Don't get me wrong. Some of them did deserve to be jailed. But I am still of the belief that the FBI had instigators involved in that. That they had people in there that broke out windows and led the groups into the areas. So there's some of these guys are going to get what they deserve. Dang it, I hate having. Let's see where am I at? Here I am. Gotta come over here to YouTube. I gotta open up a YouTube channel. Come on. There we go. So let's see this here. Like the judge said, it's pretty speculative is what's going to happen. And for the most part, these guys shouldn't have anything to worry about, as they like to say. If you did nothing wrong, then what do you have to worry about? What do you got to worry about? So let's take a look at what did you know? Because I didn't know until this morning that the Marines that were sent out to Los Angeles to protect the federal building out there that was being attacked by the protesters. Well, they've been Monday. They were told to go home. That they're being sent back to their home base because the protests in Los Angeles have calmed down and they're no longer attacking the federal buildings. And since the protesters are no longer attacking the federal buildings, they don't need to be protected. There's no reason to keep the Marines there. Now, of course, Mayor Bass and Gavin Newsom are saying, yay, we won. The Trump administration is doing this because we made him do this. So they're taking a victory lap over that. And okay. Now could that could their manufactured outrage have played a part in the decision to bring take the Marines out of there? It's possible. It's possible. But I would, lean to the idea more of is since the protests have calmed down and to the point where the local police, the civilian agencies in Los Angeles and California can handle the protesters. There is not the need to have the Marines there. And without the Marines there, that is removing a flashpoint, a political as well as a social one. But let's not forget, this isn't the first time, and most likely will not be the last time that the military was brought in because of riots or the potential for riots. Now I can't remember which president did it. Let me do a quick Bing search here. Come on, you know how to spell Alabama. Oh, when the I can't find the. Here we go. Alabama, back when Wallace, so it was under Kennedy, I believe. Uh, when they were forcing integration in the Alabama schools, the Governor Wallace was standing in front of the school, not allowing to block the 4 black girls from entering the school. And they federalized the National Guard to allow them girls to get into the school. So, I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, Lincoln did it, Washington did it. President George Washington brought in brought in the military. Kennedy did it. I mean, it's not the first time. It won't be the last time that the military's been used because of protest. Oh, that after World War One, I believe it's after World War One. Oh, that you think that was Ike? I'm thinking of there, Paul. Okay, you're it may have been Ike, but they had the after World War One. People who got out of the army were protesting, and they brought in the active duty. They brought in the army to quell those protests. People who'd just been wearing that uniform months earlier. So this idea that it's never happened before, and the idea that it never will happen again. Yeah, we've got the posse comitatus laws out there, but it's sort of been viewed as there won't be a continual presence of the military enforcing civil law. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I am all for taking a 200-yard stretch of this, especially the southern border, but the northern border also, and turning it over to the military. I mean, the Supreme Court has already ruled that the Border Patrol can stop in and without a warrant 100 miles of the border. So that's the entire state of Florida. U.S. Border Patrol does not need a warrant to investigate for illegals. That's why you see the videos, especially on YouTube. People driving Texas, New Mexico, and such along the border states there, and getting up to a checkpoint where the border patrol is standing there. Are you a U.S. citizen? And most people, yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. And they run their drug sniffing dog around. The dog's supposedly there to sniff for hidden people, but it's also a drug sniffing dog. And but you get people that sit there and uh, refuse to answer the question. I refuse to answer your questions. And they sit there and they get pulled over into secondary and spike strips put up underneath them. And the border patrol agents sometimes come out and force them out of their car and start searching their car and everything. Or they keep them there with the spike strips underneath their car and keep them there for hours on end as punishment for refusing to answer the question. Even though, as we all know, you're not required to answer any questions at any time. You're never required to answer a question put to you by a government employee, especially one that's got the authority to arrest you, like Border Patrol, marshals, etc. So, anywho, I'm not real. And again, like I said years ago when I first started streaming, one of the first videos I put out was about that 100-mile law. But that was before Obama, or Biden rather, was allowing thousands of illegals to cross the border every month, every week. Now there are times now I think the Border Patrol is too hampered, and ICE agents are too hampered by what they're allowed to do. And I'm glad to see them going in. And I mean, these judges that try to stop you from ICE agents from arresting illegals. And the idea that somebody caught in the country illegally, has to go before a judge before they can be deported. Oh, they're not getting due process. Due process is what the law says due process is in that circumstance. And the illegals' due process is to get turned around and sent back across the border. They came across the border on their own, they can go back across the border. And these guys that down there out in South Florida, the alligator Alcatraz, they're there of their own free will for the most part, because they're all offered a free ticket back to their home country. From my understanding, when they are taken there to that area, that detention center, they said, if you're willing to leave the country, we'll put you on a plane and get you back to your home country. And they refuse. So then they're held there at the detention center until they're unwillingly sent back to their home country or somewhere else. So I and the states, and the states are pushing back, like California, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, against this because, and I've said this before, and this is one of the reasons why they're getting mad at Trump about birthright citizenship and not counting illegals and non-citizens in the census. Citizens only to be counted. Because they're going to lose power in the House and they're going to lose power in the Electoral College. You got to keep that in mind when they're talking about these problems and how, especially the census count, and whether or not illegals and non-citizens should be counted in towards apportionment. If non-citizens and illegals are not counted, California is going to lose seats in the House, and they're going to lose electoral college votes. They won't have I think they had 54 votes in the last electoral college. They've had as high as 57, I believe. It's all about power. And the Electoral College and the House of Representatives are the two big powerhouses that illegals and non-citizens contribute to the Democratic Party for. They're raising Cain about Texas redrawing their House seats, their congressional districts, to increase. Supposedly it'll increase, and it probably will, the number of Republicans sitting in the House. California's done it several times to ensure that they've got plenty of Democratic House members and representatives in Sacramento. Illinois done it. New Jersey, well, New Jersey hasn't done it because they're kind of a small state. I think Pennsylvania's done it twice, redrawn their congressional district maps, and all of a sudden they've got more Democrats elected than they did before, and fewer Republicans. Got rid of those Republican strongholds. So, but yeah, that's been there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on this week, and I've only touched on a few of them. Had that Hunter Biden interview that's made the news, and boy did he drop the F-bombs. Boy did he drop the F-bombs in that. Now Monkey did a pretty good job covering a large part of the interview last night. So if you didn't watch Monkey's show last night, he did a good job covering a large portion of it. But Hunter Biden's got a mouth on him. He really does. And the man has lost his ability to make money now because daddy's no longer in power. And who's going to deal with a crackhead like that? I doubt if he's selling his pictures, his artwork, like he was before. Because, daddy's sitting there and he doesn't have any power anymore. He's not in the seat of power. All right, guys, I have got to go. My legs are really starting to sing, and that means I got to take another pain pill. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday stream. I'm wanting. I hope I can make tomorrow a good fun stream. All right. But let's look at what's going on in the news and such. But everybody, y'all have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. And we'll be back tomorrow for fun. Try to have a fun stream. All right. Later on, people.